Okay guys, we are starting. So I'm here with Daniel Anosh and Monica Stevens. They are two of the founders of the LEAP program. The LEAP stands for the leaders, for the ethics, the animal and the planet. And we are going to do a panel discussion. I'm going to ask them a few questions, but we want your question too, as we speak. We have about 45 minutes or so. And we really want, this discussion to be very interactive. Okay, so Daniel, would you like to start by introducing yourself?
Sure. I'm going to try to speak loudly. I have a loud voice, but I know we are in the main room. So my name is Danielle Kanish, and I am one of the founders of LEAP, which stands for Leaders for Ethics, Animals, and the Planet. And we are basically a high school education program that started a few years ago as a compassionate alternative to 4-H and FFA, which is Future Farmers of America. So if you guys aren't familiar with those programs, they are traditional agriculture programs for all the way from elementary through high school students. Typically, if you've ever been to a fair, a county fair or a state fair, and you've seen kids auctioning their animals, showing their animals at the fair, that's the end fate of most of those animals, is that they're sold for slaughter. So we've been contacted at our respective sanctuaries about some students who wanted to have an alternative to that program, and that is how LEAP was started. And it was founded by 3 sanctuaries: Blackberry Creek Farm Animal Sanctuary, which is the one that I run, and Jameson Humane, which is run by Monica Stevens, and Rancho Compasión, run by Miyoko and Camelia Schinner in Marin. And Isabel's also here helping us today. She has a micro sanctuary called Chlorophyll, and she does a lot of our bird education on the care of chickens and turkeys and not only their rescue, but their proper care afterwards. And so she's going to be asking us some questions today.
Thank you, Danielle. Monica, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, she still can't hear it.
There is no knobs on that mic.
You want us to just talk louder?
I think we have to put it very close.
Yeah, I can talk loud.
Hi, my name is Monica Stevens.
Is that better? Okay, good.
And I am one of the co-founding sanctuaries of the LEAP program. And my husband and I founded Jameson Humane. It's a rescue sanctuary based in Napa Valley.
Thank you. And as Danielle said, I am Isabel, and I am from a little micro sanctuary in the South Bay where we have a few chickens and turkeys, but I do mainly humane education, and this is why I was very interested in volunteering for the LEAP program, because they are doing an amazing work on humane education. So maybe the question is how did it start it? How did it start it?
So LEAP started way back in 2017. My sanctuary was asked to take a pig from a young lady who raised him in Orange County for her school FFA project, and she had no idea what would happen to him at the end. And so she became very attached to Sebastian, her pig, and she realized about halfway through the program what the end fate of all of the animals in this program were. And she didn't want him to go to slaughter. So instead of writing letters to potential buyers like her teacher asked the kids to do over Christmas vacation, she wrote letters to sanctuaries across the country to try to find Sebastian a home. And through our experience with her, there's a short documentary on YouTube called Adori's Courage, and that tells the story of Adori and Sebastian. It's also on our website there. If you scan the little QR code, you can watch his rescue story. And we talked to many of the students in that agricultural program, and a lot of them wanted to be veterinarians or they wanted to work with animals in some capacity, but there really was no other way to do that in their area besides going into FFA or 4-H. And they obviously had a conflict with that because of the outcome. And so that's really how it started. Hopefully you guys can hear me better. I'm holding it very close. I feel like I'm yelling at you. Do you have any questions about kind of the origin before we get into the actual program? Okay, Sebastian is still alive and well. She did save him. And yeah, I encourage you guys to go watch that because most of the kids said they wanted to gain the leadership, training, the responsibility, the entrepreneurial skills, all of these things that are great about FFA without the animal slaughter part. And so that's what our program is aiming to offer, which is the L in LEAP is leaders. So we're trying to train up the leaders of tomorrow in a more compassionate way and give them a different way to work hands-on with animals and see the connections between animal agriculture, human rights, animal rights, and the environment.
Thank you. You have a question? Is it nationwide? Yes, it is. Do you want to say who is involved in it?
Yes, it is nationwide, and good question because it just happened this year. The first year, it was the 3 founding sanctuaries. So we had kind of a pilot program locally. Last year, we doubled it. So 6 sanctuaries, once again in the Bay Area. Then we had a great idea. Let's go out to the nation. So I want Danielle, she just got back from visiting a few of the sanctuaries. I think today we have, 23?
Yes.
23 sanctuaries all around the United States. Pretty exciting, right?
Yes.
Varying degrees of, some of the programs have 20 students, some have 5. Pretty spectacular, but I would love Danielle to tell you really nationally what's going on because it was beyond our wildest dreams.
Okay, I see there's a question there.
Since Rancho Compasión is one of the sanctuaries closest to San Francisco, is that part of the LEAP program?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Rancho Compassion is one of the founding sanctuary, and yes, they are part of the program today. Yes, it's part of those 23 sanctuaries. Do you want to go in a bit more detail about the other sanctuaries?
Yeah, absolutely.
And why we did it.
Yeah, so one thing that we discovered was that a lot of the sanctuaries across the country, they want to do more with humane education because we all know that there are millions and millions and millions of animals that need rescue, and while we all love doing that at sanctuaries, we really aren't making a big dent in the amount if you go by sheer numbers of animals, but education is really the way to make a bigger impact and to change people's hearts and minds.
Yes.
I'll talk about that too. Yeah, absolutely. So to tell you about the sanctuaries across the country, a lot of them, they wanted a more robust humane education program for that age group. A lot of them have young, elementary age education programs where they do things like field trips. And so we actually turned LEAP into its own nonprofit last year. It is now, its own nonprofit 501c3 organization. The card in front of you is how we're raising money, so it's very grassroots. We're asking people to donate scholarships for the students, which is what we're going to talk about in just a minute as far as the money aspect. But we make sure that it's free for all sanctuaries and free for all kids. So we have a very small staff at LEAP, and we all work remotely, and we design the curriculum and the workshops, and then we train the sanctuaries to implement that so that it really can be, anywhere across the country. We also vet the sanctuaries very carefully because we want to make sure they are indeed ethical vegan sanctuaries, that they're not farms or hoarding cases or anything weird. I just got back from a 5-day trip to the East Coast where I visited 5 of our different sanctuaries on the East Coast, and it was just wonderful. We also have a lot on the West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington. We have some in Iowa and Texas, Ohio, Oklahoma,
Yes.
which is really exciting because, Iowa is the pork producing capital of the country. Texas, of course, big ranching areas. And so we're really excited to get into some of those sanctuaries and give those kids a different opportunity than anything that they have. The ones that I visited were in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. And they're just doing wonderful work. You guys have probably heard of some of them: Woodstock Sanctuary, Catskill Sanctuary, Indraloka, Tamerlane, but very, very comprehensive work that they're doing, animal care, but lots of education. And that's where we really feel like the impact is, it's able to be magnified very quickly.
Okay.
Do you want to answer that question?
Yes, so there was a lady that was asking a question about, in those program FFA and 4-H, usually by selling the animal, the student get money, and they use usually that money to sponsor their studies. So, would you like Monica to answer how do we solve that, or we will
Maybe
try that?
that might be Danielle, just because are we changing it up a little bit? The
Okay.
scholarship part?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So as far as the scholarships go, the students who are in FFA and 4-H for a long time, so generally the kids
want
have
that
been in it
question?
since they were young and now they're
Sure.
in high school.
Okay.
They're raising larger animals. So sometimes sheep and goats, but most frequently pigs and cows. And people who are purchasing these animals at auction and sending them to slaughter are typically paying way more than market value for these animals because they want to support the students in the program. So it triple, quadruple the price. The kids might make $3,000 on a cow, by the time they're at the end of FFA, which is nowhere near what they would make really raising an animal. So, a few of those students use that money for higher education. So of course they have to pay back their parents or the school or whoever, funded the feed and all the care for the animal. But then whatever they profit, they keep for education. And so that's something that we knew we had to replicate, because for a lot of the students that are not super competitive, they're just in it because they want to work with animals, that's not an issue. But there are a handful of families who won't let their kid leave FFA or 4-H if they don't have an opportunity to earn money for college. And so what we've been doing is raising money for scholarships for these kids. So during the second semester, it follows a school year and it's a 4-year program. And during the second semester, the students can choose if they would like to participate in an independent research project where they study several of the different areas. So obviously it breaks down into ethics, animals, and the planet, but they have different topics that they will study and present a project on, and those are judged. So we have a judging panel from LEAP, and the kids can earn $500 or $1,000 scholarships at the end of each year. If they're interested in that. So technically, if they're in it every year for 4 years, they can earn up to $4,000 and make up, the difference for their school money that they would have by selling their animals for slaughter. And that's really something that we're trying to promote is, yes, all these community members will pay way more than market value for your animal because they want to support you, but there's a lot of compassionate people out there that will also pay and donate money because they want to support you and they want to promote kindness and compassion and sustainability. And we also work with, we just have a new vegetable farm on board that's going to be teaching the kids crop production as an alternative to raising animals. So that's in Southern California.
That's great.
exciting.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Thank you. So I have a question to you, Monica. So how do the kids apply?
Great question. How do the kids apply? So once again, go to our handy dandy website and you can click on the sanctuary. But first of all, you have to check out what sanctuary is in the area of the children that you might know, so you can refer them. And we take applicants starting
In the summer.
in the summer. So summer of 2024, we will be filling slots for 24-25. And we intend on adding more sanctuaries around the United States, around the Bay Area. So the main thing is these children need to come out to the sanctuary once a month to do a practical project.
Hands-on, yeah.
And hands-on, so
yeah.
you want to make sure that they're within driving distance, whether themselves or their parents. And that's it. And then they can, if they're eager to sign up, they can reach out to us now and say, put me on the list for 24-25. And we would love to be sold out. And depending on the sanctuary, some sanctuaries can max out at 5. What do we have, one at 20?
24.
24.
Yeah.
Kids. It's the whole classroom.
The whole classroom. So we just say, get in touch with our website, and it'll be Danielle responding, and have children inquire, have teachers inquire. Really getting the word out about this program is the way to go.
And what is the age?
Age is, gosh, I've been out of high school for so long. Is it 14 to 18?
They just have to be in high school.
Yeah.
In high school, okay.
Yeah, wherever they are. I think it might be 13.
Freshman through senior.
Do you guys have anything, you have the thing with the sanctuary, but do you have any curriculum kindergarten teacher or preschool teacher could use this little like module.
Maybe
that
one.
would be hard. That would be good. Future. Download a module if they have an opportunity to teach.
So I'm going to repeat the question so everybody can hear it. So the question was, do we have curriculum online that could be used for outside of the program, basically like in kindergarten or different age appropriate? So we don't have that yet. This is something that would be probably nice to use in the future. I'm going to make a little promotion for another organization called HEART. What's this stand for?
Let's see, Humane Awareness and Resources for Teachers, H-E-A-R-T, something
So
like that.
it's HEART, like
Like your heart, it's an
heart.
acronym.
And they have a huge amount of resources available online today for teachers, and they cover a lot of age range.
Can I add one thing to that as well?
Yes.
To add to that as well,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Right. So to add to that, we do work with PETA, who has the Teach Kind program, which is online modules that teachers can download and use in their classrooms. We do want to go down all the way to elementary school eventually, but we have a very small staff right now, so trying to roll it out to the high school age and really make sure that's dialed in and that they're doing the hands-on part. But we are, experimenting about how can we create some more independent lessons. But I would highly recommend HEART and PETA's Teach Kind for right now.
Yes. Yes. So what are the different type of curriculum and workshop that we have? So you mentioned that we were doing hands-on workshop at sanctuaries.
Yes. So I'm delighted to speak to the workshop component. So every month, there's a commitment of 3 to 4 hours at a sanctuary.
And you want to talk about the curriculum then?
Puts together the project. And it's always aimed at animal enrichment, animal care, some component, an environmental component of the sanctuary. Like our property, we're putting in a wastewater treatment system. So we want the children also to work on the planet component, animal component and the planet component. So each sanctuary chooses the workshop. Subject matter, it includes lunch. So either we all cook together, a vegan lunch, or the sponsoring sanctuary brings in lunch. So that's the workshop component. And I'll let Danielle speak about the curriculum.
Yes. I want to add something about the workshop because I was leading the chicken workshop the last 2 years. And basically, this is amazing. So I went in the different sanctuary, talk to the students more about how to, hold the chicken, how to do health check on the chickens. We ended up doing enrichments for them too. So it's really hands-on. Some kids never held a chicken before. So that was pretty amazing. And of course, the day we were doing a chicken workshop, we also, this is Charlotte, she's one of my assistants.
She's your assistant.
So one of the things when we were doing the chicken workshop is the lunch was testing the different chicken nuggets that was out there, because there is so many plant-based chicken options nowadays. So we were in different sanctuary, we had all the different brands on the table, and we were doing like blind tasting. So you have fun and you talk about the problems, but you also show the solution and taste the solution. So
Smart.
yes, very smart. Do you want to talk about the curriculum?
Sure. I want to add that they voted on their favorite vegan nuggets, which was fun.
Oh, yeah.
They had to rank them. So for the curriculum, like we said, it follows the school year. So we're looking at generally recruitment ending in August or September, and then the program running mid-September through May or June, depending on the school district. So typically there's about 9 months of curriculum, and it starts with very basic intro to sanctuary life. What is a farm sanctuary? Because most children that participate have never been to a farm sanctuary. Part of that is the hands-on work, but a lot of it is looking at the conditions which the animals are kept in a sanctuary, and then that way later in the year when we get into teaching them about factory farming and the issues the animals face, if they have already, for example, identified the natural behavior that they see chickens expressing at a sanctuary, and then we talk about the conditions that they're kept in, and then we ask them questions like, well, which natural behaviors are they able to exhibit in this factory setting? And they're like, well, basically none of them. And then that leads us into the legal implications of welfare for farmed animals and why there really aren't many protections. We do also, like Monica mentioned about the environmental piece of it, it's really important to us that we connect climate change with animal care, animal rights, animal agriculture, because so many of the high school kids that are not vegan, that are not really even necessarily interested in becoming vegan, they're very interested in climate change and they really want to make a difference. And it's a way to open their eyes to the connections between the two and help them to understand the impacts of animal ag on the planet. We also talk a lot about the impact and the overlap of human and animal rights. So one of the lessons talks about how farm workers are treated in the industry. We look at the meat packing plants. We look at the use of immigrants and the very poorest among us in those industries. And something that the kids, a conclusion they often come to on their own is, wow, these major corporations are really in charge. A very small handful of corporations are in charge, and they're really treating the humans just as poorly as they're treating the animals. And why is that? And so we talk about ways that they can also make an impact at their age, because of course they're 14, 15, 16. Sometimes they feel like they can't really make an impact. And so we also give them a lot of practical hands-on tips during the curriculum units that they can then implement in their families, at home, with their friends, at their school, and that's been sort of a really exciting tie-in to those hands-on workshops that Monica mentioned.
Okay. Do you want to add?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Please.
And I think it's important to note that, I mean, a very famous saying, one-liner that we have in Sanctuary Land is awareness brings change. And these children, most of them have no idea what's going on out there in the big world with animal agriculture issues. So it's important that we bring that to light and that they know about it and they go home and tell their parents, but also that we introduce beautiful vegan food to them. Once again, so they can try it, spread the word, tell their parents. So we're not doing that to be diabolical. We're doing it because awareness brings change, and they are our best disciples for change.
Well, and we are all born very with compassion inside, so we just disappear as we grow. Okay, so let's say I'm a sanctuary that is not part of LEAP yet, but I'm really interested in joining that program. What should I do?
Good question. Can I steal this?
Yes.
So on our info card that you guys got, and if you didn't get these, I have more. This QR code sends you right to our website. And we do have a page for students, but we also have a page for potential partner sanctuaries so that people can see my mic. Can you guys hear me? There we go. So that people can see, first of all, what are the requirements? Because we do provide the curriculum, we provide the workshop modules, we even provide suggestions for what to cook them for lunch. We provide a stipend so that the sanctuaries don't have to pay for the vegan lunches for students. So that's another place that the donations go, is we offer sanctuaries money to buy ingredients to cook for 24 kids every month. And sanctuaries can go to that page, they can read about the requirements of what they're required to provide, and then they sign up on there, they apply, and right now we have a waiting list of 19 sanctuaries for next school year already that are wanting to add to our 23 that we currently have. It's really exciting. And then I do the work of vetting them. So I interview them all, I go to as many as I can, we talk about, do they have the staff and the manpower to staff it, because we want to make sure that the kids are having a good experience and that the staff is prepared and that the kids are showing up and they're ready to go and they're ready to learn. We also, of course, take care of the business aspect of things. So we have insurance that covers safety and all of that, but we really want to make sure these sanctuaries are also safety is top of mind. The kids are working with large animals, so we want to also make sure that they are, top notch when it comes to not only animal care and their ethical beliefs, but also the ability to host students in a safe, responsible manner. And we've just met the best people through this. It's been amazing to meet sanctuaries all over the country that are so like-minded, and their volunteers are so excited about it. Their staff's so excited about it. So
This is great.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And just to add to Danielle's component about the sanctuaries, they have to be vegan. And the person teaching the curriculum has to be vegan. Everyone that works at the sanctuary does not have to be vegan, but the person imparting the information has to be vegan.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
One thing on your website, you have a map that shows the locations of all the sanctuaries.
You just made that. Right now we have
Yes, so the question was, could we have a map showing all the locations? So actually I just made one. It didn't make it to the website yet, but it will. It will.
There's a pop down for now.
Yeah, so now you just have the list like alphabetically sorted of all of them.
I promote the site. That's a tool I want to have there. Your website,
Yes.
I don't know if you can do it, so it's great to have it.
Yes, yes.
Question.
Yes?
So when I was a little girl, my grandparents had a cattle farm, ranch, And so the two things that really set me, I think, on the thing to being vegan was one, the part of seeing that they're sentient beings and looking into their eyes and all that. But the other part was having them seeing the fear and terror of going to slaughter.
Okay.
So you guys, so you have like the one component, I think, clearly of showing their sentient beings. Do you have the thing so they really know what happened?
Okay. So the question is, so she was telling her experience of becoming vegan was to be close to a farm, and she saw the part of the animals being sentient, but she also saw the fear and the pain that those animals were enduring. And in our sanctuary setting, they see the first part, that they are sentient beings.
yes.
Now, are we exposing them to the not so fun part, like a fair?
Yeah, so we definitely do, and that's actually why we started with high school age. Because they do watch footage and, their parents sign something so that it is, we don't go extremely graphic, but they see the baby chicks going into the macerators, they see the dairy cows being pulled from their mothers. And I think the really neat thing is, at that point in the year, it's like halfway through the year that we start getting into some of that. They've already seen the rescued veal calves that are at sanctuary, that are grown up and they're happy, and then they see what happens to the majority of them. And that's when we really talk about, the way that the industry keeps that very hidden and the reasons that they do that. And typically the kids come up with this idea on their own, which is basically follow the money, right? Which is why do we do this to animals if most people think that it would be wrong? And that's where we really talk about ethics. And so we talk a lot about cultural ethics and how we're born into societies around the world that see some animals as pets and some as food and some as work animals.
Excuse
and
the last
why is
question.
that?
The
So yeah,
support?
we just give them the broad scope.
Thank you.
And that is why we work with high school students right now, because we obviously want it to be
I think it's good.
age-appropriate.
We'll do one question and wrap it up.
But
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
that they do see it.
Okay, any other questions?
Resistance against this from either the school side or the other side of it.
Okay. Are we getting any resistance, from
Yeah.
either
Yeah,
family
yeah.
or the schools?
I can talk about that too.
Okay.
So it's a great question. So we have marketed it very much as an alternative to 4-H and FFA rather than a replacement, in order to try to kind of get some of the FFA kids to actually explore it and to have their parents allow it. However, the resistance we have experienced is in some of the LA school districts. FFA is an actual class in high school. It's a science curriculum course, and it's funded by the government through the school system. And so those districts, while they're not aggressive towards us or anything, but they won't advertise LEAP to their students as a possibility because it's a conflict of interest with their funding. we can still advertise to those kids, but not through the school. So we have to, other community like VegFest or Facebook or wherever, but we're not allowed to put up informational stuff at the schools.
Okay, thank you. So I think we are going to close with one, very important question is how can you support our program, our VALID program? So I'm going to let Monique answer that.
Thank you. So obviously a beautiful program like this needs funding. And as we go out into the United States and meet new people, we're talking to all the folks about donations. So the easy way, go to the website, right? Click on donate. Another opportunity is to invite Danielle and I, our board, to come to your home or a neighbor's home, have like-minded people come that might want to write a check and learn more about LEAP. We will travel to your neighborhood because this is a really special subject matter, and it does take, thankfully it's a small group here, which is wonderful, but it does take more of a one-on-one to talk about the bigger picture and the fundraising aspects. And to be able to answer all the questions, not with competition of noises.
And we also have a matching donor still for $35,000.
And there's a very generous funder on the East Coast that gave us a nice match. And from that match, we still have $35,000 left to match. So
Please, website.
Right.
website, yeah. But once again, we are happy to travel and talk more intimately about this.
Sorry it's so loud. I feel like
Yes.
we're doing our best.
We have a couple more minutes, so if you have questions, and we are happy to. Yes.
Not a question, just a quick response. I'm delighted by your work, your effort, volunteering to do this. It means so much to the vegan community, so thank you.
Yeah, our
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you for your support.
Learning a lot.
No, good. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right.
Okay, and you can come talk to us, individually if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Good job. Good job. Thanks for moderating.
Yeah, no, that's